Welcome back, everybody. Here's another Armored Warfare replay. This one is featuring the Object 279, and I am teamed up right now with Hobo Train, and he is running his Chieftain Mark II, and Last Requiem, who is running the BMP 1P. Now I'm going to let Ivan take over because he knows more about this vehicle than I do. Hello, comrades. Welcome to Armored Warfare. What we have here, 60 metric ton of pure selenium. 130 millimeter rounds, guided by the hands of Stalin himself. Fueled by vodka and greased with the guts of capitalist dogs. No, but seriously, this vehicle is just hilarious. This thing is like every fucking Russian tank meme ever invented roll into a sweet, beautiful murder cake. This is the banner bearer version, which is awesome because it's got that flag. And it puffs red smoke. You'll see that later. The vehicle is in the premium shop for, it's like $5 or like 1,000 gold. I'll get more onto that later. It was a special, the Object 279 was actually developed at the end of 1959. It was a special purpose vehicle designed for cross-country fighting, which is kind of a weird statement considering all tracked vehicles are meant for cross-country fighting. But moving on, inaccessible terrain to conventional tanks. It's got 4 tracks. We'll get on to that more later too. And also to act as a heavy breakthrough tank. Basically what you see me doing here. And if necessary, even to withstand the shockwave of a nuclear explosion. That hence is its weird shaped hull. It does have nuclear, biological, chemical protection. Which that obviously was an important feature. This vehicle was designed purely with the idea that if the nukes are launched, this tank is going to be the tank that leads the charge. And yeah, what a tank it is. For its time, weighing in at 60 metric tons, it was one of the heaviest tanks around. To consider this a main battle tank is actually incorrect. While it kind of is a main battle tank by Armored Warfare standards, it is truly a true heavy tank. Right now in Armored Warfare, there's only one other true heavy tank, and that is the IS-7. And this thing is just so much better than the IS-7. The armor plating is actually fairly thick, and it's well angled. As you can see, it has a saucer shape to it. That's actually to help withstand the nuclear blast. There would only be 3 prototypes of this vehicle built, thank God. I don't know. I'd be kind of worried about what the Russian military would have actually did during the Cold War if they would have had an army of these things. Because this tank is just ridiculous. Now, instead of composite armor, here's some interesting facts about the armor package. Now, obviously, the armor sloping does help with armor-piercing ammunition. It's a mix of thickness and sloping. However, at the time, heat rounds was becoming more and more popular, and what the Russians had found through their armor research is there is no armor thick enough to stop a heat round. This predates composite. Oh look, now I'm a battleship. So what they actually had come up with was this really extremely sloped armor all the way around the vehicle. The idea was if a heat round hit the vehicle, and essentially ignited, the jet would actually be distributed and shot up across the hull because of this extreme sloping. This is actually probably one of the most sloped vehicles you will ever see. And as you can see, it's sloped everywhere. Just the front hull, if I recall, was 3 castings. It might be 4. And then they're welded together. The suspension raises and lowers. I'm not sure why. I've never gotten a good answer on why the suspension lowers, but it raises and lowers. It's got 4 tracks, which this is kind of the problem with the vehicle. The downfall of the Object 279. What happened with the 4 tracks is obviously you're doubling your track maintenance, which means you're doubling your time you have to do track tension. You're doubling your time of doing track replacements, which they're all steel track. And that lied the problem because of how they did it versus how we did it. And yes, the Americans did it on the T95. What the biggest problem you had is if you had to do any maintenance to the inner tracks, you had to raise the whole vehicle, which means you constantly need special equipment nearby just to do track maintenance to this vehicle. Don't mind if I do. T55 doormat. I'm still firing HE like a noob. It would be crewed by 4. It'd be crewed by a commander, a loader, a gunner, and a driver. It is armed with a 130 millimeter M65 rifled L60 gun. It is also, as a coaxial, has a 14.5 by 114 millimeter KPV machine gun. Slightly bigger bullet than the American 50 caliber, but roughly about the same performance. I think actually the 14.5 performs just a little better. It is powered by a 2 DG8M diesel engine, and it pumps out 1,000 horsepower. Driving in a straight line, this vehicle can really get up and book. However, once again, because of the design of the track system, the hull traverse is slow, and doing any kind of turning really slows this vehicle down. That's actually probably one of its greatest weaknesses is it's not very maneuverable turning wise. It could reach a top speed of 34 miles per hour. That was actually quite impressive for the time for a heavy tank.
Identify.
There we go. Get that double kill. And it had an operational range of 190 miles. The gun actually is stabilized. And it has a semi-automatic loading system. Basically, it's a loaded assist system. Yeah, 130 millimeter rounds are extremely heavy. However, the Tanka project would end up being abandoned. Basically, what had happened is conventional tanks were just getting better and better and better, and the advent of a heavy tank just wasn't necessary anymore. And this wasn't the only project that was canceled, and actually some vehicles begin remove service. They would remove the IS-3M and the T-10M at the time, or at least they would slowly start. I bomb now, full Mother Russia. But basically, what had happened is this vehicle was just pushed off to the side. There was other tank projects. IS-7 was canceled. The idea is these were going to be put in service as a specialist vehicle for essentially the advent of nuclear war. IS-7 was supposed to become the new the new main heavy tank that the Russians would use for as a breakthrough tank, and it was just decided altogether to get rid of heavy tanks. And actually, what you can see there is you can actually see the suspension lowered. You can actually lower the suspension and raise the suspension in game, and now I'm raising it. And it only takes like 2 to 3 seconds to do that. So what would end up happening is, so the vehicle would be canceled. 2 of the prototypes would be scrapped. The last prototype would be kept and is now at Kubinka Tank Museum, where it still sits today. So yeah, there you go. That's the Object 279, the history of it. The gameplay is going to continue a bit more yet as I kind of sit here and ponder and decide what I'm going to do next.
Now focus on keeping the hostiles away from Aurora.
It's a very unique vehicle. It's kind of weird looking. It's definitely a weird looking vehicle for sure. There's nothing conventional about this, and in all honesty, there's nothing about this vehicle that would carry on into other tank designs. But it's definitely very unique. So right now I'm just kind of going on a seek and destroy mission here, trying to find other vehicles. I kind of wish there was more information I could give you about the vehicle. It actually did have a firing control system with an optical rangefinder, which an optical rangefinder, understand, is a lot different from a laser rangefinder. A laser rangefinder, you hit a palm switch, it shoots out a laser and beam shoots back to tank, and tank ballistic computer says it's this far away, sighted, pull trigger. With an optical rangefinder, it's like a coincidence rangefinder. You have to do it all through the scopes, and essentially you have to guess. Like with a coincidence rangefinder, you're trying to line up 2 pictures of said enemy vehicle and line them together. When they're lined together, you pull trigger. I believe, I'm trying to find it. Okay. It also had a night sight and an active infrared searchlight. Oh, there's the red smoke. Told you I was going to show that off. The spotlight there by the gun, that's the infrared searchlight. And actually, you can see the range. I believe it's the... Yeah, I believe it's those 2 pop-outs right on the front of the turret. I believe those are actually the rangefinders. So it's a coincidence rangefinder. And I might be pronouncing that wrong. Forgive me if I am. An improved variant of the gun was later tested on an experimental tank, Object 785 in the late 70s.
Launch successful. Good job, Black Company.
So there we go. There's the vehicle itself. That's the banner bearer version, by the way. I'm not sure if I pointed that out. The main difference between the banner bearer version and the regular version is with the banner bearer or the flag bearer, you have the flag sticking out of the back of the turret. You have the camo netting on the front of the hull, on the front of the turret and the gun, and it puffs red smoke. The other one doesn't do all that, but it's the exact same tank. There's no difference, statistically speaking, between the two different vehicles. I went with the Banner Bearer version because I wanted to go as Soviet as possible. I mean, that's the only way to put it. It's every Soviet meme rolled up into one ball. It's total said than done. I did over 17,000 damage, spotted 17 enemy vehicles, destroyed 20. Yeah, this thing, like I said, it's just a sweet, beautiful murder cake. I would get a blue star, and there's a medal you get for destroying 15 enemy vehicles. I would be top spotting on my team. I would be top damage on my team. My team probably would have did better if I wasn't so damn greedy and killing everything. But so there you go. My opinion about the Object 279 Tier 4 Premium main battle tank, although it should be considered a heavy tank, is shut up and take my money. This thing is just a boatload of laughs, and it's hilarious. You don't even have to be going fast to ram something and kill it, as you saw there. I mean, sometimes I was just creeping along, and it's amazing when you are actually fast. I've hit stuff so hard and so fast that it just shoves the vehicle out of the way. Just trample things underfoot and keep going. Anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this Armor Warfare replay on the Object 279, and I hope to see you all again sometime.